Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another Meaningful Monday. So, the topic for tonight is Let Me Disappoint You. So, let me tell you how I came to write such a strange title and why I put this presentation together. I think this is probably one of the most important messages I have probably shared in a very long time, but this took me by such surprise on how impactful it was for me. There was no way I couldn't share it. So, basically, I'm just going to, if you don't mind, quickly mute here. I'm going to Cairns in October again. So, for those of you who may or may not know, in October last year, I went to Cairns and became a Louise Hay certified workshop leader for a 2-day workshop called Love Yourself, Heal Your Life. Some of you here have done the 2-day workshop with me. I've run a few already. And if you are on, please don't hold back. If you want to share something, you just type it in the chat box or unmute your mic and say that you have something to share. But the thing that I can tell you that stands out the most when people have done Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, the most common theme is I found my voice. I was able to tell the truth, express what I didn't want to do without feeling guilty. I was able to say what I want for myself without feeling like I am letting other people down and I don't have to continuously always self-sacrifice and just do for everyone. And this is a theme I have to tell you for almost everyone. So now that I'm going back to Cairns in October, I'm doing a follow-up certification. I'm not too sure of exactly what it is, to be honest, that I'm going to do, but I know that it's about Louise Hay and Heal Your Life, and it's got to do with some specialized coaching on the Heal Your Life theme. But the point is, part of the preparation to go to be trained in October is there were a couple of books that I have to read before I go. And the one of them is a book by Cheryl Richardson. And I'm just going to hold it up here. It's called The Art of Extreme Self-Care. And I picked this up and I thought, this is interesting. And when I started to read it, I realized that here I am. I've done so much personal development. I've done the Silver Method for over 12 years, 13 years now. And I've even become a trainer, as you may well know. I've done Heal Your Life multiple times. I attended the course more than once, and I'll attend it any possible time I can in the future as well. And here I am reading this book, finding myself saying, Jeanine, you got a long way to go. So here I am struggling with some of the very things that this book is writing about. And I'm a teacher of Heal Your Life. So one of them is a chapter in this book, which I have to share with you, and it's called Let Me Disappoint You. And this is a really, really important topic, and it is about self-care. And Cheryl Richardson has been very much influenced by Louise Hay. And just for everyone listening, if you are not aware of Louise Hay, please, the one thing you have to do, seriously, in the next 6 months is read the book Heal Your Life. It will change your life if you haven't read it, and you got to reread it. You can listen to it actually on YouTube. I believe someone's put it on YouTube. There's the audio book to listen to it on repeat, because it takes a lot of repetition to actually integrate what Louise Hay is suggesting to help us heal. And when we say heal, we all have inner child wounds. We all have hurts and emotional scars, so to speak, from our very small childhood. I'm talking about under 5 years of age. And if we don't heal those things, we find ourselves in our adulthood getting angered by things repeatedly, getting triggered by people's behavior unnecessarily, feeling negative emotion that you don't have to feel, like guilt. I can tell you, I don't know where, but I identified this even before I did Heal Your Life a year ago, that one of my biggest roadblocks is guilt. And I thought about it and thought about it. And I just came to the understanding through my own analysis is that it's almost like a handed down the family tree. My grandmother had so much guilt and put so much guilt. My mother had guilt on her, and it's just a pattern. So we just learn to feel guilty if we don't take care of ourselves. So here I'm going to share something from The Art of Extreme Self-Care, and this is the art of disappointing people. And you might say, well, why on earth would I want to disappoint people? Okay, this is a really, really important lesson. So grab a pen and paper and stay with until the end, and this will really help you. Ness says, I've got a copy. Well done, Ness. Well done. All right. So let me begin. I just want to let someone in. All right. So here's just a quote. Self-care isn't just treating yourself from time to time. So some people think, oh, let me go for a massage, once a month or once a fortnight or whatever. Let me, treat myself to half a day off. But no, self-care isn't just treating yourself from time to time. It's actually choosing peace during an argument. It's also choosing peace of mind, no matter how you behave, and getting your own needs met without guilt. So you don't feel guilty when you say no. It's also spending less time with negative people, or what some people call toxic people, without feeling bad about it. Taking care of yourself, knowing that you're doing the right thing. It's prioritizing your mental health. Now you might think, oh, well, I don't really have a mental health issue. We're not talking about, that you've got an extreme form of dementia, but just everyday mental health is a real thing. It's not being disturbed by concerns and worries in your head about absolutely unnecessary clutter. It's praying, yes, taking care of yourself. It's choosing not to take things personally. All right, so tonight I think a lot of what I'm going to share with you rests on that kind of theme, that we sometimes do take things personally. So I want some audience participation here. I'd like you to say out loud and mute your mics, type in the chat box, or both. Does life look like this for you sometimes, even if it's just sometimes? You bend over backwards because you want to be liked. You have a fear of, they won't like me if I don't do this. You have a fear of conflict, so you don't speak up because you don't want to upset the apple cart. You don't want to upset the family. You don't want to go through all the drama of having a big confrontation. You may potentially put your needs last, and you just do for someone else, do for someone else, do for them, do for the kids, do for the partner, do for the family, do for work. But you don't do for yourself. Or you say yes when you actually want to say no, because you know that that person wants you and that person needs you, and you don't want to let them down. So you say yes, but you know what? If you could have said no and they were not going to get angry, you'd have a sense of kind of relief. Or you're concerned about what people may think of you if you let them down, or what they think of you in general. There's only one person answered here. Yes, avoid conflict. Thank you, Bronwyn, for being honest. Okay, Mike's number 2. Oh, here they come. Anyone have any of these? Let me go here. Yep, I'm not guilty. The last 2 points are things I do mainly for survival. Oh, wow. I used to do most of those, now just 1 or 2. Okay, thank you. Great. Fear of conflict, blaming myself first. Okay, blaming ourselves first. Yes, we take the blame and we feel bad, and we're always concerned about the impression that we leave. Thank you, Karen. That's great. That's honest. This was me 2 years ago, so afraid of upsetting people. Thank you, Ness. Yep, not anymore. Excellent. Yes, do those all the time. Okay, Jane, listen up. This is for you tonight. You're in the right place. Amanda, yes, putting needs last, saying yes when I want to say no. Excellent. And Eddie, yes, being like that all my life. Okay, I admit I am there as well. I am no better or different to any of you. I struggle with the same things, and that's why this chapter really got my attention. And obviously in context of the whole book, but this is just something short and sweet, and I can share it with you. Now, this challenge is going to be a bit odd. Please just bear with me. Do not judge the presentation too soon. Stay with me. But this is really what this book recommends. It sounds funny. I'm sure you're not laughing. I'm sure you think this is a bit strange. What is Jeanine presenting here? But this is actually the only way out is through. So we actually have to do a 30-day challenge. I kid you not. If you're only going to make one note tonight, write down this. You got to disappoint someone every day for an entire month. Why? Because we need to become desensitized. And then you say, okay, desensitized. Desensitized to what? Why do I need to be desensitized? Well, there is such a thing, it's real, as good boy syndrome, good girl syndrome, and we need to get over that. We don't need to be a good girl or a good boy. We don't need to feel worthy or loved because we're doing the right thing by other people all the time, as if you have to earn love, as if you have to earn being good enough. You are good enough. You are worthy of love as you are right now without being a people pleaser. The other reason why we need to desensitize ourselves to disappointing people is to help you become desensitized to the actual fear of conflict. Because we learned that somewhere, and let me just explain it in a way that will help you understand. When a little child is really small, I'm talking about 2 years old, even 6 months old, even 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, if there's a conflict and it scares them, which it will, because that's a dominating, intimidating energy, a little child is going to get afraid. That first experience is so impactful on the subconscious mind of that child, especially in the development imprint phase, that it creates such a strong emotional impression that for the rest of their life, that individual, under all costs, must avoid that feeling. So the inner child is unhealed. The inner child is now in the forefront, and the adult is in the background, and the inner child is going, don't say anything, they're going to shout at you. Do not upset the apple cart, it's going to hurt. Do not do anything, do not say anything, just keep quiet, just suck it up, go away, but just don't upset anyone, because that feeling, I cannot have that feeling again. It feels scary, it feels awful, it hurts me, it pains me. So you've got the inner child the whole time acting in the front. That's not the full version of yourself. It's not the adult you. This is the whole Heal Your Life workshop, is really, in a nutshell, addressing this at the deepest level. And I have to say, it's infinite layers. They never end. You can do 100 Heal Your Lives. These workshops, it'll never end. Even Louise Hay, at 89, got severely triggered and said, after all the work and after all the workshops I've run and the books I've written and the healing I've done, I've just been triggered. Here I am at 89, severely triggered, because she's got an inner child wound herself. That was to do with criticism, that she could never be a dancer, she's too tall, and it was a lifelong dream. Anyway, so we have to become desensitized to that fear of conflict. That's the inner child. Or letting people down because we are so afraid of confronting that anger. That's the inner child that's afraid. I promise you, it is not you as an adult. We all have an inner child, we have an inner adult, we have an inner parent. All of us, no matter your age. It's your inner child that's frightened of the person's anger. It's the inner child that's frightened to disappoint because you might not feel loved. And that child might have only felt love when they were being a good boy or a good girl. So you've got this pattern going on inside you that if I just comply and conform and take this and not upset anyone, or do the good thing by pleasing everyone, let me please them and please them and please them and please them. They tell me I'm good and they give me a hug. That's what the child did when it was 2. So now the adult is still in that pattern. We all a habit pattern on 2 legs. Okay, or also to become desensitized to having your feelings hurt. We don't want to be hurt. Well, we also need to know how to address that fear of disappointing others. And you've heard the saying from any source, how do you overcome your fears? You've got to face them. So this is the point of tonight's Meaningful Monday. It's the art of disappointing people. And I'm going to help you with that tonight, to give you actual language to do that. But this, everybody listening, we need to practice this. And as I go through it, I'm going to just repeat, this is not selfish. This is self-care. And when you can do this for yourself, you become better at caring for others, not worse. It's the very opposite. And when you start caring less about what others think and more about what you think, everything in your life improves. Okay. Here's a quote by the author of the book herself. One of the harsh realities about practicing extreme self-care is that you must learn to manage the anxiety that arises when other people are disappointed, angry, or hurt. And they will be. So I'm not here to soften the blow, and you know that. I don't have to tell you that. You know they are going to be disappointed. They are going to be angry with you. They are going to try to make you feel guilty, especially if it's a pattern in the relationship. Besides your own habit pattern, there's a pattern in a relationship, and now you're going to shift that. You're going to upset their comfort zone. Okay, so why we don't want to hurt or disappoint others. Let's have a look. We don't want to feel guilty. We don't want to disappoint others because we know how bad it feels when we get disappointed. Very importantly, we might not have the language to let someone down with grace and love. So we have to practice this for 30 days. And please, I don't know, put your own hand on your own heart and your other one up in the air like you're making a promise to no one else, not to me, but to you, and say, yes, I am going to be aware and make an effort to disappoint someone every day for a month and just go through this. And when you practice it and you practice the new language to do it with love and to do it with grace, you can reflect afterwards and say, how did that go? Did I do it well? What could I have done better? And you journal and you journal. And I can promise you, if you just did this for yourself, it would be the greatest gift you could give yourself. You would come out at the end of 30 days a whole new person, and you would love yourself for it. And I know this is going to sound really unrelated, but it's absolutely related. Your financial life will improve. Your status of wealth will increase when you learn the art to disappoint others and practice self-care. And the funny thing was, here I am, reading this book and taking the content here to share with you tonight, but at the same time, I'm listening to an audio book in my car, which I've spoken about before. It's by Jeanine Gaines, called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Success. And today, Meaningful Monday day, I'm driving home and I'm playing the audiobook, and I don't know how or what, but the exact place in like a 5-hour audiobook just happens to be on the segment that Jeanine Gaines is talking about self-care in part of the audiobook when she talks about the spiritual laws of prosperity. And she says it as well, that your money is related to how much self-care you practice. And she also gives a whole long list, similar to this one example of disappointing others. So we'll share some language with you. The other one is we don't want to disappoint others because our fear of conflict and our desire to keep the peace actually keeps us from telling the truth. I could have written that differently and said, it keeps me from speaking my truth. And that would be more accurate. And also, we want people to like us. And we have this very uncomfortable, uneasy feeling when we ever think someone doesn't like me. Again, it's the inner child. I'm just going to quickly check the chat and then I'm going to carry on. Carissa says, good timing for me. I told my husband tonight I wasn't cooking meat anymore. I've been a vegetarian or vegan. I can't see it's behind the little emoji thing for a long time and can no longer put my beliefs aside. Carissa, I don't know where you're sitting in this Zoom thing, but high five. That's for you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Good.
Okay, right through the camera onto you there. Well done. I wish I had seen this a long time ago. Jan, trust me, I do too. We're all on a journey and we're continuously learning. It's never too late. So have no regrets, put it that way. Let's just be grateful we're getting this, even if it's at this time of our lives. Vicky, my poor work colleagues, they're the only people I see every day. Don't worry, Vicky, we're going to do it with love and grace. My dog is in for a hard month. Go, Jan. Okay, so what we must do with this information is we have to learn to manage the guilty feelings that arise when other people are disappointed with us, or they're angry, or they're hurt. So we actually have to manage the guilty feelings. I'm going to just say this, please don't be offended by what I'm saying, but it's a form of maturity. Any managing of emotions is maturity. Any people who cannot manage emotions is a form of immaturity. Now, you can be 13 years old and mature, and you can be 88 years old and you can be immature. So we all need to continuously grow and learn, and this is just a part of the process. So guilt's going to come up. We have to just manage it. It will get better with your intention to love and take care of yourself. When you decide to actually break these patterns of self-sacrifice and deprivation, you're going to start saying no. You're going to start setting limits. You're going to start putting boundaries around you to protect your own time, to protect your energy, to protect your emotional needs. Now, when I was reading the book and it came up the word deprivation, I kept reading. I said, deprivation? What a word to use, deprivation. Deprivation of what? Well, it's true. It's deprivation. It's depriving yourself of peace. When you're worried all the time, what do they think? Did I hurt them? Is she going to be angry with me? Is he going to be upset that I said no? You depriving yourself of your peace of mind, or you deprive yourself of your hope. You're afraid that things won't get better if you don't keep pleasing people. You're depriving yourself of hope. You could be depriving yourself of emotional support. They won't like me, and I'll feel rejection. No, please understand. If you're making a note, write that down. Self-deprivation, no longer. Okay? And I just want to tell you that if you're a very sensitive and caring person, which I know many of you here who are on the Meaningful Monday, I know you personally, and you are very caring and sensitive people, this is going to be difficult for you. I'm not going to pretend it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Okay, so why is it going to be difficult? Well, let's have a look at this. You will disappoint a friend in the next 30 days. You must promise yourself you're going to practice this. Not you will. I recommend you disappoint a friend in the next 30 days. You are going to hurt your child with something that you're not wanting to do at that very minute. You're going to say no. You don't feel like doing that right now, or please just give me whatever, half an hour to myself. Do not disturb me, whatever it is. And that child potentially will be a bit unhappy with you. Still continue. You will say no to some invitations. In fact, I insist you say no to some invitation. You might be feeling just a fraction tired and you want to go home to peace and quiet, or just some form of relaxation, rather than go and please people and show up where they expect you to be. Please turn that invitation down. Practice this. Don't miss this opportunity. All you're doing is delaying your good if you don't apply the knowledge. The last one, you will anger your partner. You'll anger your partner probably many times. Probably anger your partner the most because you stay under the same roof. Now, this is all going to happen because you are changing the pattern in that relationship. You're changing the rules of the game, and the other person ain't going to like it one bit. Remember this, if you want to live a meaningful life that also makes a difference in the lives of others, you need to make a difference in your own life first. The more you take care of yourself, you will become a person who becomes more conscientious, more, and caring about others, not less, more, because you know how important it is to give yourself extreme self-care. So once you actually give it to yourself, your world's going to change, and you're going to think, wow, this is peace. This is whole. This is wonderful. This is actually joy. It's actually happiness. And when you've given that gift to yourself, you will want to give that gift to other people. And you might share this with your friends and colleagues around you that they need to practice doing the same, but you'll become a role model. And that's what we really want. We want to share the light, spread the light from person to person, and you're going to share that light. So, you're going to do this with your motivation being pure and without regret. You're not going to regret disappointing anyone. Tell yourself you're not going to carry that, and definitely without resentment. Okay, so it's a paradox to think I'm going to become more self-caring, which some people might deem as selfish. How can I be better for others? Well, that is the paradox. The better you become for yourself, the better you're going to become for others, and it is that way. So your motivation is resentment free. That's what you want to be, is resentment free. Because if you're pleasing someone at some deep level, even if you squash it down and suppress it, you're a bit resentful that you have to do this thing you don't really want to do. And we don't want that in any relationship on any level. So your motivation to disappoint someone is brilliant because it's resentment free, it's guilt free, it's anger free, it's self sacrifice free, and it's regret free. If you think about those energies, resentment, guilt, anger, self sacrifice, regret, those are negative energies. So you can understand if you are bearing some of those negative energies inside your energy field, it must affect your income, money, prosperity, happiness, and even health. Okay, so what are the consequences of disappointing others? Let's just say it as it is so you don't get afraid. You will have a fallout, or you might even lose some relationships. When you start practicing extreme self-care, you will lose some relationships that you thought were important to you. And the reason why is that if you tend to overgive, you've actually trained those people in your life to expect it from you. And if you stop overgiving, they're going to either question you, or they're going to criticize you, or they're going to maybe use passive aggressive behavior to make you feel guilty, hoping it will sting you enough to get you out of this, whatever you're doing now, and reverse you back into you'll please me. So I remember Abraham Hicks said this, I hope I get this right. He said something along the lines of, when people want you to do what they want, and then when you don't do it, they make you feel guilty, then they call you selfish for taking care of yourself, but they're not selfish wanting you to please them. And when you don't, they belittle you or criticize you. Well, you're not being selfish, they're being selfish. If you understand the origin of this whole request and expectation. Okay. The next thing is, a good friend or family member will probably try to reel you back, as I said, through guilt or more demands. And you'll be wrestling with many different emotions. So the most important thing is be consistent. Don't disappoint and then they give you the guilt and then you reverse and you please them again. If you go back and forth, you confuse them and they're going to have doubt in your mind as to who you are. So consistency is really important. Step into the challenge and do it and commit to yourself. You're going to be consistent. Remember that you need to make your needs from today, a priority. You are going to change the rules of the relationship through your behavior. And when you change, you disrupt their comfort zone and they won't like it. The same as no one really likes to get too far out of their comfort zone. Sometimes we think a comfort zone changes when we change. No, a comfort zone can be a change when someone else changes. So the same way that you start to disappoint people from a place of love for yourself and caring for yourself and for everyone else because you're doing the right thing by you, that's affecting their comfort zone. Whilst you always be pleasing them, that's how they feel comfortable and familiar. When you change, it's unfamiliar now and they won't like it. So you must be honest, you must be consistent, don't go back and forth, otherwise they're going to doubt your word. You must be very direct. I'm going to help you with language. And you must resolve to take care of yourself. Resolve is a stronger word than decision. I'm not saying you must decide to take care of yourself. I must say you must, resolve. The other thing that's important is the less words, the better. Very important point. Do not over explain yourself. The book explains that repeatedly because you invite an argument. It's not about a discussion. So don't over explain. If they criticize you, do not defend yourself and do not invite any form of debate about how you feel. So the less words, the better. Also, have a support system in place. So preferably people that you know or someone else that you can share this with, or you know each other here, but someone else who's also willing and wanting to practice extreme self-care so that you can help be advocates or talk to each other before you do it, to support each other, help with language, debrief it afterwards, reflect on it, and to make sure that you don't crack under the initial, I don't want to call it pressure, but those negative emotions that are going to feel like pressure on you to go back to the old you of pleasing people. So if you need to have support from someone, ask for that support before the conversation, after the conversation, whatever you need, make sure that you get that support. And, you know, the book explains, which Louise Hay does as well, when we think about the world and the state the world is in and how much healing the world needs, and we wonder what could happen to help heal this world and make people better and stop being so violent and to eliminate conflict and war and people violating the rights of others. Well, this is the answer. It's to heal yourself first, to protect yourself first. And when you become healed and whole, you embody more love. And more love is healing. And you will find that you will become a healing force around the people around you. When you change, you will actually be someone that heals, let's call it the community, the groups of people around you. All right. How to disappoint in the right way. Here come the tips of the trade, the tricks of the trade on how to do it. Some guidelines for staying strong whilst you take good care of yourself. So these 3 things. First of all, buy yourself some time. Don't rush into the answer, whether it's yes or no. I'll show you how to say that. Do a gut check. Your gut will never, ever lie to you. That's why I love intuition. It will always lead you right. The most important thing is always, always follow your intuition. Never go against your own intuition. It's like self-betrayal. Okay? And then tell the truth, not in a roundabout, polite, kind of politically correct way. No, tell the truth directly. I'm a very direct person. Those of you who know me quite well. I've offended people with my directness. Maybe it's because I'm South African. We're all like that, I think. In South Africa, we're very direct. No one is, beats around the bush. They just, even in a boardroom, in corporate, they just say, I don't agree with that. That sounds like a crazy idea. They just say it. So, yes, some people it's easier than others. If you're not the kind of person or come from that culture where you can be direct, this is a very important point. You need to practice not beating around the bush, just being direct. So if it's no, you've got to say no. Okay, so let me help you with some wording here. Let's talk about to buy some time. So when someone makes a request of you, there are 2 things that you could do. A, put some space between the request and your answer. So before quickly answering, oh, yes, sure, I'll do that for you, take some time to consider the consequences of your response. So this is what you're going to answer. Write it down if you need to. I'll need to get back to you on that. Or let me sleep on it. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Just say the words only. I'll need to sleep on that. Or I'll need to check with someone before I commit. Even if that someone is you. So that's the 1A. The next thing you could do is let the person know up front that you may not be able to oblige. This is good because this makes it less personal and you're already giving the right message from the beginning. So it's a statement like this, if you want to write it down. I've recently made a decision to limit the commitments I make. so I may not be able to do this. I'll repeat it. I've recently made a decision to limit the commitments I make, so I may not be able to do this. So you're really giving them a heads up. And they can't blame you for it. You're not doing it out of being nasty. You're doing it because you've recently made a decision to limit the commitments you make. You're entitled to do that, and you should if you need to. So it takes the pressure off should you decide that you don't want to do it, and you can prepare the person who's asking for that help. You can like prepare them early for the possibility that you won't be able to help them. The next one about do a gut check. Once you've bought yourself some time, you then step into number 2 and you ask yourself, Jeanine, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I really want to do this? And the answer will come. It's just that knowing, that feeling. Okay, the closer you are to 10, the more you could consider saying yes. But if you're not sure, this is what you need to ask yourself. If I knew this person wouldn't be angry, disappointed, or upset, would I say no? So if you were absolutely guaranteed the person would not have any negative response or dislike you in any way, upset you, be angry with you in any way, they would just be so happy and say, absolutely. Would you say no? That's the litmus test. That's how you know. If there were no consequences, would I say yes or no right now? Okay? So, practicing extreme self-care means thinking about what you need first. Would satisfying this request bring you joy, fulfillment, or pleasure? Yeah, you need to ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Will it bring me joy or pleasure or fulfillment? So be sure that you're doing it to show love, to strengthen your connection with this person, but you're not doing it out of guilt or obligation. We think we are being kind and doing a self-sacrificing thing for the benefit of another person when we don't practice extreme self-care. But actually it backfires because over time you create a bigger and bigger wedge between yourself and this other person, and that wedge is resentment or a suppressed anger. Then the last one is tell the truth directly, and you can add there with grace and with love. So the problem is many people lack the language on how to disappoint people or the language how to say no. So crafting a very respectful response will equip you, empower you, give you the courage to be able to tell the truth. I want to just share a quick story here from the book, if I may, on this very topic. So there's this woman named Barbara, and she called in to the author who had a radio show. And Barbara was aware that she had a tendency to be a good girl even before she called in to speak to Cheryl Richardson on the day. And she said this to her, I'm about to commit the ultimate good girl act. And then she said, for the last 6 months, my manager has worked hard to help me find a new position in a part of the country with a warmer climate, which is something I've wanted for a long time. But as I go through the interview process, it's becoming clear that the job isn't what I actually thought it would be, and I don't think I'll be happy. And here's the crazy thing. Believe it or not, I'm actually thinking about taking the job anyway, because my manager has really gone out of his way to help me, and I'd hate to let him down. Don't know if anyone can relate to that. I sure could. And then it says, as outrageous as the story seems, it wasn't surprising in the least. So think about a time if you've maybe done a similar thing. Then the book goes on how to respond there. So to buy some time, I need to get back to you. I need to check in before I commit, something like that, which we've mentioned. Do the gut check. And then this is how it happened. Here's an example in the book of how this lady now could respond to this boss and not take the job she doesn't want just because of all the trouble the boss went to find her this job opportunity in a warmer climate. So, Bob, this is a tough conversation for me to have. I know how hard you've worked on my behalf to help me find a new job, and I'm deeply grateful. But the truth is, the more I learn about the position, the more I realize it's not for me. I'm so appreciative of what you've done for me that I actually considered taking the job. But the truth is, I couldn't do that to myself, and I know it wouldn't be good for the company either. So I've decided to pass, but I do want to thank you very much for your time and effort. And please let me know what I can do to help you maintain your relationship with your contact, whoever this person was getting them the job. So you can see that this example demonstrates important points, which is be honest about how you feel without over explaining yourself. So don't leave a door open to go back. No, you need a wall to say, I don't want it. There's many repetitions of gratitude and thanks, which is nice. The person feels appreciated, even the word I appreciate what you've done. But you tell them the truth directly and in very short sentences. And I just want to carry on showing you this. You only offer to give some help if there's an ethical obligation where, you know, you're going to let someone down, it's going to upset an apple cart or something. So here's a quote from the author. If you want to live an authentic, meaningful life, you need to master the art of disappointing or upsetting others. Just read those words. We need to master, not just practice it once a year, once every 2 years. Actually master the art of disappointing and upsetting others, and master the art of hurting feelings and living with the reality that some people just won't like you. They might not like it that you're doing, but they also might not like you. You have to accept that. The most important person who needs to like you is yourself. When you like yourself, you actually become more attractive. You'll attract people who will love you and appreciate you when you love yourself. If you put yourself last and at a deep level, it's self-rejection that you keep doing this and that, but never looking after yourself, you attract more abusive behavior of people taking advantage of you because you become a certain vibration where the law of attraction keeps giving you a vibrational match to that you're vibrating. So it's really important. We have to become resilient that people just might not like you. And it says it may not be easy, but it is essential if you want your life to reflect your deepest desires, your values, and your needs. Like Carissa, she's standing by her values of vegetarianism. Again, well done, Carissa. Thank you for sharing that. It's an excellent example. Because if you are vegetarian or vegan and you don't want to be cooking animal protein, it's a values conflict. And did you know one of the main causes of depression is values conflict? Like, you're in this job, it pays the bills and gives you a nice paycheck, but you dislike the job and you actually want to do a business of your own that's completely different, in a different sector, different industry. But you're not going to do this thing because you want the secure paycheck. Every day as you live with this values conflict, oh, it's paying my bills, oh, but it's not what I love. Oh, I love this, but it doesn't pay my... That values conflict, or the vegetarian one, can really be very damaging for our health and can cause depression. All right, so language is key. So very importantly, be honest about how you feel without over-explaining yourself. Keep it short. So for example, I feel bad about letting you down, but I need to whatever. Tell the truth directly. Do not make it wishy-washy or mince your words or try to make it pretty or sound less offensive. Truth directly. No, thank you. I'd rather not go there. I prefer staying at home, whatever it may be. I haven't got capacity to do that for you today or this week or this year, or whatever it is. But directly and plain and simple. Depending on the request, ask how you can support someone with the situation. Very important. Number 3 is not to be used in every situation. No. Only when you have an ethical responsibility that relates to the particular situation or person. So, for example, if you need to leave a volunteer position in the middle of a fundraising campaign, then you could recommend another person to take your place or to offer to help write the ad to get another person to fit your place. So if there's an ethical responsibility, otherwise, no, you don't do number 3. So just going back to number one, if you've got to be direct, no wishy-washy. I don't think I can do it, but if something changes, I'll get back to you. I must tell you that line is very effective. You say no, and then you just add, but if something changes, I'll be sure to let you know, or I'll be sure to get back to you. People say, okay, great. That really works. That just that tail end there. So you're talking about language. Okay. Some scenario. So let's say there's a friend's wedding in another state and you cannot afford to go. So you're going to tell the truth with clarity, with grace, and with love. And it might sound something like this. I wish I didn't have to. However, I might end up hurting your feelings. So in the very first sentence, you're not shying away from hurting their feelings. I'll say it again. In the very first sentence, you are not shying away from hurting their feelings. And this is going to be new for these people changing their comfort zone. So you say, I wish I didn't have to. However, I might end up hurting your feelings. I won't be able to attend your wedding, and I'm sorry. My family can't afford the expense at this time. And since I hate to miss your big day, what can we do to acknowledge the special time in some other way? So you are acknowledging your friend and you are making another alternative offer, but you're telling it straight as it is. You can't afford to go and you're not going. Okay, here's another scenario. Babysitting your best friend. So maybe you agree to babysit your best friend's kids for the weekend and that you realize suddenly that you're very late in finishing some important project for work and you need the next, like maybe weekends, 2 or 3 weekends for catching up. So you won't let work down. So this is what you could say. I'm sorry to disappoint you. However, something came up at work and I'm behind schedule on an important project. I'll get into trouble if I don't spend the next 2 weekends working on it. So I'll need to back out of my agreement to babysit the kids at the end of the month. I feel bad and I'm wondering if we can put our heads together to help you find someone else. So there again, offering support, being kind, being loving, but being very clear. I'm going to have to back out. So even, this is important. In my life, I look back on my life and I'm telling you, when I gave someone my word, I wouldn't break it, even if it broke me. And this book is saying that's not the way to live. If you gave someone your word and it's not the right thing for you, maybe something changed, circumstances changed, or whatever it is, and you have to go back on your word, you must do it. It's just how you do it. You do it with love and you do it with care. I remember this actually happened to me about a year ago with Nancy at the office. We made some agreement to something, or I made the agreement to something. And then after thinking it through overnight, I thought I can't fulfill this agreement. I felt absolutely awful. I could not sleep. I got up in the middle of the night, but intuition, I was honestly God-given guidance. I just started taking a pen and I made a whole lot of notes as to what I really wanted to say. And it's really because I care and I care so much about going back on my word. I don't like to do that, not to anyone. And I couldn't fulfill the agreement either because that would have been a conflict between me and myself. So the only thing I could do was say it as it is, honestly and openly. And to the same way, I just started to type and I typed up something and actually sat it down on the couch the next day and said, I have to read this because I wrote it exactly as I meant to say it from my heart. And I was so upset with myself for having to do it. And she said, oh, that's nothing. I don't want to offended by anything. So sometimes we make a whole big mountain out of a molehill because in our mind, it's a whole big, it's a, like, we think it's something terrible that we've done, bad character or something. And sometimes the other person doesn't see it that way. But it's just being upfront and kind and caring and seeing what you can do to make things work. Here's another example. You've been asked to join a board of a local charity. So you don't want to or you can't. You say something like this. Thank you for your invitation. So if you're making notes, the word while, you write while is the first word. So you first thank them. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for thinking of me. While I'm unable to accept, So you tell them in the first sentence you're not accepting, not mincing your words, not wishy-washy. You just give them the first truth. While I'm unable to accept, I wish you all the best with your organization or with your project or your goals or whatever is going on. So while I'm unable to fulfill your request, I really wish the best for you, or I hope it all turns out well for you, or I hope you get the right person, whatever it needs. That's just very short, to the point, and very direct. And there's no need to explain why. So if you're making notes, there's no need to explain why. Just tell the truth and genuinely wish them the best. So this example works in any situation. You can take a photo of the screen, write this down, whatever you want. In an effort to take care of myself and to spend more time at home, I need to decline your offer, although I'm honored that you asked. Thank you very much. There we go. So keep in mind that being honest about your commitment to self-care is almost always something that people can hear, they can understand, they can respect. Now, remember, when we're going to disappoint people, we must do it in the right way. And the idea is to tell the truth with respect and care. And it is not to manage their emotions. So you are not responsible for their reaction. You're not responsible for their potential anger or disappointment or hurt. You're not here to manage their emotions. That's really important. If you want to measure your success with this particular 30-day challenge, you rate your success this way. You don't measure your success by the response from the person. You measure your success by the relief you feel or how much anxiety dissipates. I hope that was clear. And you've got to ask these questions to yourself. Do you know in your heart that you made the right decision? So, like a truth reflection. Do you feel relieved? Are you pleased with the way you handled saying no? And are you glad that you actually did it? If you answered yes to these questions, you've done the right thing, not just for yourself, but for everybody involved. Okay, so extreme self-care, learn to use your voice. Over the next 30 days, become a master at using your voice. The goal is to get comfortable with disappointing people, with facing conflict, with dealing with anger, and realizing the possibility that you might hurt someone's feelings. I just want to quickly share this quote before I put it on the screen. Listen to this quote. It is the height of craziness to expect the existence or manifestation of a new and greater concept of yourself to come about by a natural evolutionary process. So if you think that over time, just through normal evolution and as you age, you're going to get better at this, it's the height of craziness, the quote says. So it cannot come about by natural evolution, but it comes about by intentional action that's taken consciously. So that's why the 3 steps of to first buy yourself some time is necessary. I'll come back to you. So you've got the time to, if you have to write it, you have to write it, but formulate your response that it's clear. Use the examples that I've given. And when you get back to the person, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it direct, keep it truthful, keep it kind, keep it loving, and keep it supportive. But keep it real and true for yourself. Okay, so ask yourself, once you've done this, what did I do that I felt good about? So this is a reflection. What language did I use to state my position? What worked best? If it didn't really work so well, then you could ask, well, what would I do differently the next time I'm faced with a request? And actually get out a pen and journal this. I would say it this way instead of saying it that way. So you're always learning because we're changing a pattern. You're changing old behavior. And just strive to get better at taking your time before responding. Before you respond, get calm, get relaxed, don't be disturbed, and have a gut check. and be very sensitive to the way you feel. If you need to close your eyes and feel yourself in your tummy, in your solar plexus, do that. Remember, the question is, if the person had no anger or disappointment or any negative emotion with me, would I say no or yes? And that is the truth. And then get better, strive to get better at telling the truth every single time without fail, consistently. Speak your truth. Speak your truth. Speak your truth with grace and with love until you are living your truth, and you will love yourself for it. Oh, the slides back to front. So that's what you're going to walk away with when you practice this. And when you decide to put an end to the cycle of deprivation, remember, depriving yourself of your own hope, your own peace of mind, and your own self-care, emotional support. When you decide to put an end to the cycle of deprivation in your life, you'll need to start saying no, setting limits, and putting boundaries in place to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional needs. And that is self-love, and that is self-care. And if anyone really struggles with this, I must tell you, the most transformational turnaround in people from this to that in just 48 hours is in the Heal Your Life workshop. I just want to share this. There's a person who attended Heal Your Life. They're actually also a coaching client of mine, and they told me yesterday, because we coached actually last night to shift it, that having a conversation with her own dad for the first time, she just stood up for herself, and he was saying something along the lines of, how would I feel if you went and did that, blah, blah, blah. But the blah, blah, blah was the right thing for her. And she said, without hesitation and very calmly, she was not triggered. She just said, that's emotional blackmail, Dad, and I'm not going to accept it. That's all she said, as short and sweet. And she said, I would have never been able to do that before. I love a story like that. There was another example of, what was it? Oh, yes. When, sometimes, especially with siblings, you get one sibling who's a little bit more difficult, a bit more trouble for the family, and the other one might be you. And then the parent says, because there's something wrong with the troubled one, I think me and you and your sibling need to sit down and discuss it. And the person said, no, this is the whole trouble and drama has been caused by my brother or my sister, nothing to do with me. So if you want to have that conversation, please have it with that sibling. And when I heard that, again, I love that story, but I can relate to that in my own life. Sometimes your parents do, they kind of pull in the more, the person with less drama, put it that way. The person who's more into self-development and self-awareness, they pull that one in, the parent, to help deal with the other sibling who's got more drama in their life or more trouble. And if it's not your fish to fry, you need to say so. That's not my fish to fry. If you've got something to say to sibling so-and-so, then please go ahead and have that say. So you don't have to pick up the pieces for other people, in other words. All right, that's the end of the presentation. I hope that was helpful. Did you enjoy that? Let me check. I've got some comments here. Let me just read them out if I missed anybody. I learned a long time ago that I am the person I can please. The only person I can change is myself. This is the only way to see a change in my world. I love that, Alex. I didn't see you earlier. Come on, so welcome, Alex. I'm just going to read it again because it's very, very powerful what you wrote here. I learned a long time ago that I am the only person I can please. Please hear that. The only person I can change is myself. That is the most powerful thing, and that is taking full responsibility for your happiness, for your life. And high five to you, Alex. And it says, the only way to see a change in my world is to do exactly that, is to change yourself. So well said. Ness, how to say no to everyone. I must decline for secret reasons. Sorry, that is so funny. But I do like that. I must decline for secret reasons. That's quite funny. Alex says, gut check. If it's not a beep, yes, Then make it a beep no. I like it, definitely. Carissa, awesome. Thank you. My first time here, so great. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Carissa, thank you. Christine, great chat. Fantastic, Jeanine. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Rita, that was great. Thank you. And Mike made me think, what do I feel? Okay, Mike, I have to stop here. This is really good that you put this here. Thank you. Mike wrote, made me think, what do I fear when dealing with others? I asked myself that question, Mike. As much as I do what I do, I'm in personal development, I eat and breathe it every day. Even I, at times, have a fear when dealing with others of this extreme disappointment or anger, or whatever it may be. And the answer is, it's not you, it's your inner child. So, if I may just take, what's the time? A quick 2 minutes to explain this. You have to reparent yourself. I have to reparent myself. What that means is we acknowledge that if we have some fear, trepidation, or anxiety about disappointing people, our inner child is afraid of that anger, or of that rejection, or of that abandonment, or of that intimidation, or bullying, whatever the child, that little tiny inner child in yourself. With awareness, now that you've listened to this, you have to make a conscious response, not an unconscious reaction, that you're going to deal with this, and only through the adult stepping forward, putting the inner child to the background and saying, I'm dealing with this. You can relax, inner child. I love you, and you don't have to fight this for me anymore. I can handle it because I'm going to use my voice. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'll get back to you. Take your time. I'll craft out the response with the verbatims and the language that I gave you, with love, with genuine appreciation, thanking the person. Whatever it is that they asked you, thank them for thinking of you or inviting you or asking you to do, and saying in no uncertain terms no, and how you deliver that no. So when you do that, the adult you, not the parent or the child, the adult you then speaks, and the inner child can take a back seat. And if you do it once, it'll be weird, potentially scary, outside of your comfort zone, but the liberation will be huge. And you will say, geez, it wasn't so bad. That was actually better than I thought. If someone gets really upset with you, like I said to you in the beginning, some friend, some partner, some colleague at work, some boss, someone's going to get upset with you. If you can manage those emotions, that's maturity. And you can think, well, I didn't die. Yep, you may lose some people along the way. I'm not promising you it's all going to be moonlight and roses, but you're going to be okay. And you know what? You're going to love yourself more, and you're going to respect yourself more, because you chose you, as opposed to sacrificing you to please other people when it's not what you want to do. My friends, that is the highest form of self-betrayal. And self-betrayal is the worst thing. You can't come back from something like self-betrayal because it's a you and you deal. It's never someone else. It's you doing it to you. There's no reason. There's no ever justifiable reason to do that. So Mike made me think of, what do you fear? It's not you that's fearing it. It's your inner child that's fearing it. Karen, I'm working on speaking my truth at the moment. Well done for you, Karen. I also come from a very direct culture, which can be offensive to Australians, so I appreciate this. Great. I don't know which culture you are, but maybe you can put it down there. Sometimes it is offensive. But you know what? As long as a person comes from a good place, I'm direct sometimes, and I say, this is going to be very direct, and I'm not going to mince my words, but I'm doing it because I care more about the person hearing the truth that someone else might not want to share with them than BS and leading people up the garden path. I don't want to do that. I want to have authentic relationships that are meaningful, and that can only come from being very truthful. Bronwyn says the timing is perfect. I need to respond yet again to my ex-husband about having more time to myself. 100% Bronwyn, I'm here with you. A high five. Karen, German. Okay, yes. All right. So German, Dutch, South African, we're kind of influenced by that culture. No problem. Direct is nothing to apologize for. Being you, anyone here, not just Karen, anyone, all of you, being you, authentically you, is not something you have to ever apologize for. If there's anyone you must apologize to, it's yourself for not being authentically you and pleasing people in the past, but never someone outside of you. So, my friends, I hope that was helpful. We're going to do a guided meditation now, but before we do that, I'm going to share with you some events coming up. So, some people joined tonight when you started talking about the Silver Method, to see if you were one of them. The Silver Method, if you want to watch a 1 hour recorded presentation, please jump onto my YouTube channel, which is Silver Method Australia on YouTube, and you'll find, just put in the search bar there, the 4 key skills to take charge of your life. There's several of them. They're pretty much similar, any one of them. And you can watch that. It's on the Silver Method. It's got some tips and techniques to help you. And if you don't know what the Silver Method is, it'll help you understand more about it. Otherwise, if you do know something about the Silver Method, or you've read the Blue Book, if you haven't, I recommend everyone in the world reads that book. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. The stories in there are mind-blowing. The next 2 courses are there on the screen, September and November. We only have a very few seats left for September. Please, if you want to book, do so. It's going to be at the Ride Parramatta Golf Club. If you're from interstate, there's accommodation right next door at the Select Inn. You can ask for a special price using the Silver Method name. Say it's for the Silver Method. I believe I can get a good price, and you get the weekly rate for the full Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it works out to be more or less $143 a night, which is excellent. I'm staying there. I've stayed there before. It's great. It's clean. It's comfortable, and it's right next door. And then the best news is, in November, we're going to be in the new office, the new premises. So for those who don't know who I am or never seen me before, I used to have an office in Concord. It's still on the Google business page, because, believe it or not, you can't change your business premises on Google without a video of the inside of the building, a video of the outside of the building with the location of your phone on. Talk about surveillance. Anyway, let me not go there. I see Bronwyn nodding. So we can't change the address on the website until I'm in the new office and taking an actual video of my furniture and everything in there, to say, like, I'm not lying about it. For the new premises, we've moved offices to a bigger one. It's in Parramatta. The good news is we are 3 minutes walk from a train station, 5-minute walk to the ferry, 1.5 blocks from the hotel, if you're coming interstate, and a bus stop right outside. So my suggestion, if you're coming ever to Parramatta, take public transport. Otherwise, you're going to pay for parking at one of these multi-level parking places. Just take public transport. It's real easy. All right. And then as for Heal Your Life, I cannot recommend it enough. I only did Heal Your Life, as I said, last year, October. I've been practicing the Silver Method for 12 years. They're nothing like each other. They're completely different. I recommend everybody that's breathing on this planet does Heal Your Life at least once a year. And I kid you not, it changed my life so significantly. And I keep practicing it and attending it again. And now I'm going for this other course. It's just the most valuable thing. You become better for everyone around you. Everything in your life works out better. You find that authentic you, the things you could never imagine saying, being, or just doing what you want to do, the way you want to do it, and loving yourself, in my view, is really very difficult to change just overnight. But you can make significant strides attending the 2-day workshop. We only have one more before the end of the year. That's in December. It's the 7th and 8th. We only have about 10 seats left. We have sold more than 60% of the tickets, and it's for December. So guys, if you want to book, please book as soon as possible. These tickets will get sold out. This is a phenomenal course. I cannot talk it up enough. This will change your life. The Silver Method is fantastic too. It's a toolbox to help you create the life of your own design. All the tools, how to live the best life, to sleep well, to wake up without an alarm clock, because that's for adrenaline. It's no good for you. to manifest your goals, get clear on them, to help heal your body, to help heal others, to develop your intuition that guides you. It's that toolbox to equip you. When we want to heal all these things that we struggle with, we just struggle in relationships, or we struggle to speak our truth, or just to be authentic. There's nothing like Heal Your Life. It's a very transformational 2 days. And then, guys, if anybody wants to do the Silver Method in a game reserve, in a safari environment in South Africa, please send us your expression of interest as soon as possible. It's going to be at a place called Cradle Moon Lakeside Game Reserve in Johannesburg. It's called Mulder's Drift, the actual address. And it's in April next year. This is wrong. I do apologize. I have to fix it right now because this is going to be recorded. This is incorrect. We moved the dates because it's a public holiday that other week and we don't want to have any issues whatsoever. Whoops. Sorry, that's the date. 18 to 21 April. And just to tell you, excluding flights, the accommodation for 4 to 5 nights at Cradle Moon Game Reserve, including a game drive, 3 meals a day, accommodation, only costs an Australian approximately $500. And this is a very good quality game reserve, beautiful rooms, great food, excellent staff. So because of the exchange rate, it's very, very affordable. If you're a graduate, you know you can attend the Silver Method for free. You only pay minimal seat charge, cost you $170. Join. What an opportunity to do it there. We have zebra walking right past the conference windows. We have them at the pool when we go for lunch. You'll see giraffes, you'll see springbok, you'll see blue wildebeest. It's just an amazing environment, really just stunning. So that's something that you'd like to do. Please do let me know. Seats are limited. And we are filling up a list. We've got some nice bookings already, so it's looking really good for next year. All right. Someone wrote something here. Okay, thank you, Karen. All right, we're going to do a quick meditation now. Grab a pen and paper. We're going to write in this meditation. If you haven't done this before with me, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions whilst you're in a relaxed state. And whatever answers come to you, do not analyze them. Just write your first impressions and you'll get guidance from your own intuition, your own higher self. Okay. I'm just going to put on some music. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in. And while exhaling, relax your body completely. Starting from the top of your head, flowing gently and slowly downward, all the way down to your feet. Be conscious and aware of every part of your body relaxing, releasing any tension, any pressures. Relax your shoulders, drop those shoulders and just relax your arms. Take another few deep breaths in. Hold it for a second and just let it out. As you take in deep belly breaths, you actually dissolve stress chemicals in your blood, in your body. Just continue to be aware that you're relaxing your body from your head all the way down to your feet. Now I want you to imagine your ideal place of relaxation, any place that you've potentially been, or it could be an imaginary place, just somewhere where you do feel totally relaxed. Just create that place for yourself now, using your imagination. And now I want you to create a waterfall of light in the scene. Place it wherever you choose. And this is a waterfall of beautiful white healing light. It's got some streaks of blue in it, some white blue healing light. The waterfall is now created. Go and stand under that waterfall of light and feel it pouring over you, encompassing you within its glow. And you can just sense all the tension and clutter and stress washing off you. Not just from today or the last month or the last year, but your entire lifetime. Let it wash your energy, removing any stress, clutter, or tension. And notice how you feel lighter. You feel almost like your energy field is cleansed. And now just notice how much happier you look. Freer. With a beautiful glow. And now I want you to imagine that that waterfall changes to green. It's a beautiful green light. Light of pure, unconditional love. As this green light, this beautiful light, swirls around you, encompassing you within its glow, you feel that unconditional love. And it's coming from an infinite source, pouring over you beautiful, universal love. And you just become aware of how much more you can love yourself and draw from this infinite source of universal love anytime. And that you do have a commitment to yourself to be more unconditionally loving of yourself. That's the only way you'll ever be able to love another human being more unconditionally, is if you can start with yourself. And now imagine that the waterfall has disappeared and you feel beautifully cleansed in your energy, in your mind, in your peace. You feel relaxed and centered. And now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I'd like you to write down your first impressions without analysis, no overthinking, just your first impressions. And it doesn't take long, just the first answer that pops in your head. Before I ask you a question, bring to mind what we discussed this evening about the art of extreme self-care. And as you think about yourself and what you need, Bring that to mind. And now I want you to think of the month ahead, the month of September. And the first question is, what do I need to focus on for the month ahead? Write your first impression. When you finish writing, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and re-enter the meditation and relax. Whilst in this very relaxed state, just continue to breathe deeply, slowly and rhythmically. And write down your first impressions to this question. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to do, be, or have? Write down your first impression. And now ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? And another question, what do I need to embrace? And now just make a silent commitment to yourself that you're not going to neglect anything that came to mind that you wrote down. You're going to focus on this piece of paper and these answers every day if you need to follow your guidance. This is your own inner guidance. And it always will guide you right. If you're in a relaxed state and ask a question, it's your intuition that answers. So I'm going to count from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, at the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Feeling the way you feel when you have slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy, wonderful sleep. 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Okay. Come on, guys. Don't be shy. Did anyone get some good answers there? Did anybody get any answers related to Let Me Disappoint You?
Yeah, I did, Jeanine. So one of mine was what glasses on. One was to listen to my intuition. So the second answer to the question was to listen to my intuition and let go of other people's judgments, being right and perfect, and it's okay to make mistakes.
Beautiful. High five. Excellent. So the letting go was the need to be perfect.
Yeah, and to just, to be, it's okay to make mistakes, to just
to
be
embrace
me.
making mistakes and to let go of, was it being right?
Yeah, so it's just not like bullheadedness, right, but like right within myself, like that it's got to be right, it's got to be perfect, it's that kind of thing. So let go of that shit.
Okay, so the only feedback I have for you, Bronwyn, is you've got all the wisdom for yourself right there.
Yeah. Thank
Well
you.
done. Good. Anybody else want to share? Hello, Les. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Nice to see you. Looking well.
Nice to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, guys, if you want to say good night, I'll stop the recording, or you want to ask me anything, you're welcome to.